If you go to yoga, transformation of who you are happens at the place where you're holding the uncomfortable position. And art is very much like that. It requires that we go beyond, or at least in my opinion, for me, I want that juicy passion in it, and the only way I can get that is to push, to evolve. My name is Gabriela Aguilo, and my medium is encaustic. From very young, I was always wanting to build things or invent things, but then somewhere around the age of 12, I thought, well, what would it be like to try and draw a nude figure, a female form? And when I drew it, I thought, how do I, well, it came out like kind of like shaded and sort of perfect, and I had no idea how I knew how to do that. Perfect is probably an exaggeration, but it looked correct to me, and I didn't know how I knew how to do that, or how I had no idea. I just thought, well, either this comes from a past life or I just know how to do this. And then I thought, okay, let's explore art a lot more. From the age of 18 on, when I moved out of my parents' house, I have never done anything but make art and sell art. It began with clothing for the music industry, one-of-a-kind art to wear for people like Paul Abdul and Fleetwood Mac and New Kids on the Block and Ozzy Osbourne, Pink Floyd, all that. And then that sort of financed my ability to take classes and to educate myself in art history, and because you really don't know what to make unless you know what came before you. That took me to working painting and as well working in glass, and then I dabbled in jewelry for a while. Then I was a stone sculptor. I cut stone for 13 years, and that began to beat up my body a little bit. Things were outweighing me and just really hard on my hands, so I decided I was going to go paint, and I wanted it to express the journey through my dreams to the self with a capital S. Like, who am I? Who's asking that question? How to really churn the ether for what is my personal voice. So in order to do that, I chose encaustic because it's very dreamy, and to go back to painting because in stone I was really missing color. And I feel like it's one of the best things I ever did. I love it. This is my medium for sure. You bring whatever you know from one medium to the next. It's really there are things I do with encaustic that would not have happened had I not worked in stone or understood construction, how to work with wood, how to work with drywall. But the way it's evolved, I would say, especially in the last few years, is in my desire to express something incredibly unique to me, authentically me, which means defining maybe a genre in a way that isn't necessarily make sense to everybody. If you look at my entire body of work, it might look like it's kind of all over the place because some of it's surreal and some of it's landscape, but because it's all expressing my dream life, and informed by the imagery in my dreams and guided by the evolution of myself, or the individualization of me, the courage to tell that story requires that I take really large risks. But the customers that are my following kind of love it. They love to see the story of the mystery of what it is I'm exploring spiritually and as a human being on earth, answering really large questions like, what does it mean to live from your heart and soul, on my art, in my art. There's a triptych that it's the first time that I've tried to allegorically and profoundly show a psychological concept and part of my own evolution as to what does it mean to love yourself. In the first painting, there are two hummingbirds that are obviously about to make love. The entire thing kind of takes place in the fourth dimension, which is the internal soul vessel and where you are when you're dreaming. But the hummingbirds are in communion with each other in this really profound way. The second painting, there's two birds that are kissing, but the female is stretching, yearning, needing, wanting, and dependent on the masculine, which is kind of the divine masculine in these paintings. And she is just obviously so in her longing, and that is a catalyst to self-love. Like, to want love and to want to find love in your life will motivate people to figure out, what are my bad patterns, what do I need to let go of, what is in the way of love. And in the third painting, there's a female figure who is undressing, and she's tense and nervous, and she's also becoming water, which is, in our dreams, the symbol for feelings, because they can't be contained and it flows and it can't really be stopped or controlled. And the same male bird is seeing her and coming for her. So in a way, she's the hummingbird in the first painting, and the painting is titled Vulnerability, which is open to feeling because you can't heal what you won't feel. It's like there's this beautiful tension between what is known, which is the loving daily practice of my craft, devoted and knowledgeable, and this unknown thing that's uncomfortable and wants to be birthed or shamaned into the world. And that tension makes it actually happen. It's a really passionate thing, and it's very dear to my heart. First of all, the people. Like, it is really wonderful to have conversations like I just had with you, with the people that come to the show. Certainly the friends I've made that keep coming back to fall in love with more art and take that to their home and make it into like almost a sacred object, right? We are, as artists, channeling the unconscious on the page, and they are choosing the talisman that their heart desires in their home. But also the other artists and the wonderful dinners and conversations and talking shop and joking around in what has, over 8 years of being here, become my tribe and people I love very much.